Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rossin for Life Network. It's a Thursday night, and we're going to dive into WWE Summerslam live this Saturday. We got your preview, your predictions. We're going to dive into it all. We're going to talk a little bit of wrestling tonight. It's going to be a fun one, but me and these two pretty faces have you for the next little while. Make sure you get in that chat. Strap in, strap on, grab your snacks, grab your feel good, and let's go. Ding, ding, ding. We are live and back at it again, folks. Like I said, we are the Rossin for Life Network. We are the channel that just watches more live wrestling than anybody else out there. And we are the channel just doing it at a different level right now. We're rolling into SummerSlam. We're looking forward to this one. Lots to talk about, lots of intrigue on this card. And myself and the two gentlemen with me are going to go through each match, break it down for you. Get in that chat. Let us know what you're excited about for SummerSlam. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, and definitely make sure you share. Be a friend, tell a friend. We want to see these streams blow up. Of course, we are back at it tomorrow and Saturday. We will be live for SummerSlam itself. But without further ado, I will remind you, I am Mr. Evernight KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube. That is Anthony. That is Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag stream trios champions, the Every Night Delight, KJ White, the chapeau that runs the show, Ring Center Anthony, and I am Big Nick. And are you guys getting excited for SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer? Do you feel the energy? Do you feel the vibes?
SummerSlam is stacked. SummerSlam is stacked this year. I think I'm more excited that this is the first time in 2 years that I get to watch it from the comfort of my own home. So I'm excited about that instead of going to see the show. So yeah, I'm pumped for SummerSlam this year.
Right.
It's going to be a good one. We've talked a lot about it throughout the week leading up into it. And I think what's exciting about this one is there is the possibilities of curveballs everywhere. F you, Jobu. I do it myself. You can't hit a curveball. We're going to get a lot of curveballs. And again, are we going to get it all that we assume that we're going to get? No, there's going to be some straight up, moments, but lots of speculation, lots of excitement, lots of rumors, lots of news, and a whole bunch of other stuff going on with this one, Nick.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing that you could have 3 matches main event?
Yeah.
I know I'm not a big fan of triple main events, but this could literally have a triple main event.
No, I think it's a good thing. That just tells you how the booking right now is stacked in WWE. Like 3 matches could potentially main event this card, and one of those matches being a women's match that can main event.
Oh yeah, you could argue that the women's match has almost the best story on the card.
Right.
One of the biggest stories going into this pay-per-view is, the Live Revenge tour, how this is going to play out. Took a little bit of an interesting turn this week, so we will definitely get into that here tonight. But I will remind again, I see that chat blowing up. We probably say hello to some people before we start debating and rambling. But, again, there literally is a lot to unpack with this one. And there is a lot of possibilities. We don't know what's going to happen with Liv and Rhea. We don't know what's going to happen in the main event or what even the main event will be. So a lot to figure out as we plow through these matches and see what the people have to say about it as well.
Well, you could feel 100% confident on a match and still be wrong, and it makes sense as an outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the matches have variable outcomes that could still work with moving storylines in the future.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think that's, I think I'm going through it right now. There's certain things I predicted for this pay-per-view that I'm really uncertain about, and I don't like it. Usually I have a pretty good feel of what's happening, and I feel like this one's got me guessing.
That's not a bad thing. We've always been wanting that. We used to bitch, moan, and complain when the wrestling was predictable. Now you almost see some people going the other way of it's too unpredictable.
Yeah. No, right. You can't. No. That's not a thing.
You don't think that would be a thing in wrestling with the
No,
IWC or anything like that?
no.
There's no one out there that could possibly feel that way.
I'm sure there's
probably
people that
10
would say
people right now
something
tweet about it.
stupid like that. But that's like, oh my God, I can't do this. It feels too good. Like, stop it. Stop it. What are you talking
Right.
about? What are you talking about? Like, this is, they're giving me everything I want and more. I don't know what to do. Quick, complain. But let's say hello to Odds. Roman's back with us. Rachel, good to see you. Good to see you. Not gonna lie, SummerSlam predictions are tough. So many ways to go. That's what we're saying, folks. That's what we're saying. MDB, always a pleasure. Knee pad crew is in the house.
Right.
His favorite champion. What's a least favorable champion? Is it MDB or Cody Rhodes?
Oh, ooh, that's a tough choice, but I'm gonna go with MDB.
I got your back, bro. Prediction, Pain. All right, Roddy's in for it. Alexis, Vance, Eric Tate's with us. Damian's back. Remember, folks, get in that chat. Don't forget the super chat, the super stickers, and don't forget we are here tomorrow and the next day. We're here twice tomorrow. We'll be here for 3 shows technically. We still have Liv Morgan win, and we'll come back to you. We'll come back to that. Good to see you, Clay, Joe Black, Romanowski, 316, Easy Bake, and anybody else out there who's just too shy to say hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But gentlemen, should we get into the pay-per-view?
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll kick it off with the first match. Oh, I'm always game. What was it? MDB was saying I'm confident in wrong predictions, so I'm set to win here. But Sami Zayn taking on Bron Breakker for the Intercontinental Championship. Who do you got and why?
Anthony?
If it's not Bron Breakker, what are we doing? I feel like Money in the Bank was like, I thought it was his moment, but okay, we're doing this on a grander stage. We're doing this on the biggest party of the summer, the Big 4 pay-per-view. If it's not Bron Breakker's moment, when is it going to be? So I'm taking Bron Breakker. I think he has to win it here.
I have to go with you. I would love to be difficult. I'd love to stand up for Sami. I'd love to show some Canadian pride. I did it at Money in the Bank. But I can't imagine we're going to run up this tree too many more times. Like, if he doesn't win here, then what? A month from now, he gets another shot. Like, you can take that loss if you're Braun because of who beat you, but you can't take too many of them. And I think Bron Breakker has been on an absolute upward trajectory. I have no reason to think he will not be victorious unless Ricochet shows up. But I think I don't think so.
How strong of a percentage do you want to put on that one Richard O'Shea? Good old Ricky shows up.
I'm going to put a 10% on it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anthony, do you want to go higher or lower?
I don't think Ricochet shows up at all. I don't think. I really think he is still with WWE, but I don't think he shows up at SummerSlam.
Fair enough.
Okay. I think Anthony might be onto something. Like, Braun has his moment. Braun wins at SummerSlam with all the other chaos going on. Do you really want Ricochet kind of lost in the mix of clicks and news? But that could be a very good Monday Night Raw, bow to your new champ, kick in the head. Maybe.
Right. And well, now that they've set up this IC division, does somebody like a Bronson Reed or an Ilya show up and cost Braun, and that's how Sami wins?
Now, that would be interesting because he has so many enemies.
Let it be Ilya. Please don't let it be whatever the other guy you just mentioned.
Your favorite wrestler, Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed. Please don't let it be Bronson Reed.
Oh, that's right.
No, I think Braun wins this. He has to win it, but I do like that they have the IC division, and I don't think Sami falls too far out of like the title picture. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that lately, at least with the WWE, generally, if there's something to happen in a match, like they have a tendency, much to our surprise at times, because we're so conditioned the other way, that they let the match play out. Match happens, somebody wins, somebody loses, and then maybe something happens, or the next week something happens. They don't try and shove everything into one thing. You know what I mean? So
right,
they've forced fans to be patient, which we hate.
You don't have a dusty finish. You just have the carryover into the next angle after the match.
Right.
Absolutely. And
Wrong.
going by Nick's like philosophy, Sami Zayn did get the upper hand on Monday Night Raw this week. So
Yeah.
when you get the upper hand, then that means the other person goes over at the pay-per-view. So I'm going with Nick's philosophy with this.
Yeah, it's the laws of wrestling. If you go home, if you go over on the go home show, you're definitely losing at the pay-per-view. It's up there with he who sets it up must go through it. But
yeah, I feel like
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention about how you've even brought this up of maybe we're also freeing Sami up to potentially be involved in the Bloodline storyline.
100%. I think that's a possibility. Right now, the chat is about 80%, 81% for Braun Breaker. So
Fair
everybody
enough.
going Braun.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty much one of the most slam dunk matches on the card.
And even then, there is a window. There is a window of, well, okay, what is this? But I don't think so. I really don't. I'm with both of you.
I might have to be one of those minions that if Sami Zayn wins on Saturday, I might have to tweet my displeasure about it.
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna tweet about it.
Are you surprised that Ricochet has not been picked up by AEW yet? Again, we don't know what his contract status is. We only are running on assumptions. You know, we went through this with, was it Becky? Or it might have been
name a wrestler. Can name a wrestler at this point, honestly.
Yeah. They had re-signed, but people were still reporting they're not sure. So again, I will not believe that AEW is even in the mix to get Ricochet until he walks through the curtain.
I've said this multiple times, and I've yet to hear anybody say anything to counter this, that the fact that it's gone completely dead silent on Ricochet as far as Meltzer, Fightful, all the IWC smarks, no one's tweeting about, oh, Ricochet's going to could show up this week in AEW, or he was backstage here, or sources told me that him and Tony Khan have had a conversation. We saw Shane McMahon talk to Tony Khan sooner than we saw Ricochet talk to Tony Khan.
Right.
So that to me says maybe there's much more going on and probably not the rumors and the speculation that we thought initially.
Well, we just saw it with MCMG.
Yeah, touche.
Right.
Same.
Right. What the F is this new kickoff rule? Wow. Easy bake? I have anybody?
Oh, he's talking about because there's the first preseason game on as well. So now AEW can always use football as a reason why ratings are down.
Yeah, right. It's that rotating. Oh, you know, something new.
Right. There's always something else going on that's more entertaining. But anyways.
All right. My favorite Irish wrestler. All right. Are we good on that one? I think.
Yeah, I think that's, like I said, that's kind of a slam dunk one.
Absolutely.
So match number 2. Bayley taking on Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship, and there will be a Brucey bonus question, I think, attached with this.
I think Nia Jax picks up the victory. I do. I'm there with Nia Jax. I'm full in on Nia Jax winning the Women's World Champion, not the Women's World Championship, but the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam. I think it's time. I really think it's time. Bayley has had a nice run, not the best run. Still enjoyed her reign, but I want Nia Jax to hold gold again.
So she has a whole reign for a bit, and there's no cash in, there's no Tiffany, or do you just build that tension down the road a little bit? You just kick that can down the road?
I feel you build that tension, and the only reason why I don't want Tiffany to cash in on Saturday at SummerSlam is I don't want to repeat of last year. We saw that last year at SummerSlam with Io Sky. So can we hold it just a little bit longer for the women? Maybe until I've heard people even say she could be the first woman to cash in at WrestleMania, like something like that. But yeah, I kind of want her to hold on to it for a bit.
Interesting. Now, this is a good point. Tiffy doesn't even have her pink briefcase yet.
That's
you
true.
You can still see it on SmackDown tomorrow night.
We could. One night only.
Well, one night only. One night exclusive. Limited edition. Go and get yours today, folks.
I have Bayley beating Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax beats the living hell out of Bayley, pushes her to the limit. Bayley finds a way to win, and then it becomes Tiffy time. I said it a while ago. Felt like that's what's happening. However, again, maybe not, but yeah, I got Tiffany leaving. I forgot SummerSlam last year was EO's cash in.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
It almost makes me hesitate. But I'm going Bayley no matter what for the match.
Fair enough. So
Okay.
even if there's no cash in, Bayley retains, and then what?
Well, I figure if Bayley wins, and we could get a Tiffany cash in, but if Bayley just straight up wins, Bayley wins and we move on.
Okay.
Okay. So we just even more push further out the cash in and everything. Like Anthony's, I see you would have it to where they're buddy, but Tiffany's waiting in the wings with the briefcase. Yours, you're pushing that way out. So would you rather have a longer cash in or a longer reign with it? Because I know you were a big fan of Priest and everything like that. Do we run back another long briefcase run, or do we cash in quickly?
It could be longer for the women. It's rarely been longer from my memory, from my recollection.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the longest one was Carmella. She held it until after WrestleMania the following year. And then after that, it was the same. It was in the same night for the past few Money in the Banks until Io Sky.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, if Nia wins it and Tiffany wins it off Nia, that's interesting because they're both kind of heelish. So I wonder how they'd sell it or how they would play out. So I'm leaning Bayley to win the match no matter what. I don't know if she's leaving with the belt, but she's winning the match.
I think you can salvage them as a team if Bayley wins and Tiffany cashes in. Well, at least one of us left as champ, what have you. And let's be honest, whether I'm right or wrong with this, I was always going to pick Tiffany to be leaving SummerSlam with the championship. I would rather just speak that into the existence and be wrong than worry about being right. So
if she doesn't cash, I figure we'll have many of these predictions during pay-per-view. You'll be like, this is the one.
I will literally, it will be every pay-per-view. I will find a spot. It could be she'll cash in the middle of, a Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes match for all I give a damn. They'll somehow cash in.
So did you make a prediction on the actual, how do you see this?
Yes, going? I did. I said that Bayley wins. And that's why, like I said, I think you can still salvage potentially Nia or Nia. Christ, I don't know why I was thinking there. Nia and Tiffany as an actual partnership a bit. At least one of us left with the belt, everything like that. You might still have that kind of tension. We've seen it a bit already, but I'd almost go with Anthony's more than I would with yours, though. Too, if there was another one, if that Bayley just wins outright and there's no cash in.
Yeah. I do kind of like Anthony's take of like Nia wins and then her and Tiffany kind of have this weird relationship for a little while. Yeah, that's really peculiar for me. I like it. I like that take. Yeah, I didn't really put my head around that one, but I like his I like that angle. I like that possibility.
Yeah, I think that's a good possibility for it to happen. I'm cool with anything other than the cash in on at SummerSlam. I don't want to see it 2 years in a row, but I'm kind of cool with anything kind of going down except for that.
If it wasn't a cash in, would you be happy with Tiffany Stratton leaving SummerSlam? Like, say, what if she makes it a triple threat, and then they just, both beat her up. We get the Undertaker Kane spot. They both pin Bayley, so they're both co-champs.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm just going ridiculous ideas against the wall.
Yeah,
so we taking it back to the days of Layla and Michelle McCool, co-women's champion.
Yeah.
It's got a little Russo vibe to this booking. Right now, it's 48% for Bayley, just about 30%. So Nia is the least likely, according to the chat, to leave with the belt. So that's interesting. But I don't like when they cash in and make it a triple threat. Like, I mean, unless you're an uber baby face, like, Cody Rhodes wins Money in the Bank. And then it's like, next week, I'm going to battle you. Fine, do that. But the Money in the Bank is set up to be that big surprise, that pop of like, oh my God, here it comes. So I much prefer. I hate when they're like, oh, let's do the honorable thing and make it a match. Nah, it's not necessary.
Oh yeah, that was even way worse when they'd announce it like a week before. It's like,
dumbass. Next week I'm gonna cash in on you. What'd you do that for?
Yeah, you had the element of surprise, and you just chose to give it up.
Exactly.
So, and I don't subscribe. Like, as long as you play within the rules, you're free to go. Like, I mean, it doesn't bother me if there's no fear. Well, it was within the rules. I'm allowed to win.
Right.
But yeah, that'll be really interesting. We'll see. But I don't see anything really from the chat more on this topic. You want to move on?
Fair enough. I'm good. I'm long story short, I'm taking Tiffany leaves SummerSlam women's champion. Deal with it, embrace it, enjoy it, accept it.
Yo, that was my pick until he said it happened last year at SummerSlam. I'm like, shit.
I don't care. I'm still going to speak it into existence.
Right.
But so match number Trey we have actually got 7 matches. Do you think we get anything real quick? Do you think we get anything announced on SmackDown? Anything that could be like even a pre-show match, what have you? Because we've got like from 3-4 hour pre-show.
If they were going to put anything on the pre-show, it should be the 2 tag team title matches they have tomorrow on SmackDown. So I don't see them adding anything else but them talking for 4 hours tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Didn't we have a title change on the SmackDown before a recent pay-per-view? Like the night before?
The title, the tag titles.
It was
before France.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I mean, we
France
could have
Clash, one of them.
Mm-hmm. And they're kind of treating SmackDown like the pre-show, so I'm okay with the 2 title matches. It'll be intriguing to see how it plays out, and we still need something because SmackDown's been puttering up, but behind a little.
Yeah, it's been fluffing. But so 3rd match, Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. Who you got and why?
Whew.
I think this is LA Knight. I would hope. I've actually came around to actually liking LA Knight, so I kind of hope he wins. I think if he doesn't win here, where does he go from here? Right? I feel like they've built this up fairly nicely over the past 2 to 3 months. I feel like this is his time. And on second note, Logan Paul has defended that title less than 4 times in his entire reign. Let's give it to somebody that feels like they'll fight, be a fighting champion on SmackDown.
I mean, this has been going on since like WrestleMania, I feel.
These 2? Not really.
Yeah.
Well, Logan was messing with Cody for a while, and we kind of just circled back to it, but there is some history there with these 2. Right. Completely agree with Anthony. What do you do if LA Knight comes up short? I know people are going to be inclined to think, well, it's in Cleveland. He's going to win, but it's his hometown. I mean, short of Jake Paul jumping in the ring and throwing punches, I don't know how you don't give this title to LA. He better get screwed and screwed proper if he is not leaving with the titles or the title.
The title, yes, no, 100%. First and foremost, fuck Logan Paul. But yeah, he 100% LA Knight. If you know, you know. If you don't worry about it. But yeah, LA Knight has to be leaving SummerSlam with this belt, regardless if it's Cleveland, anything like that. It's the same argument, same case we made for Bron Breakker at this point. If LA Knight doesn't leave SummerSlam with the championship, then what? Then you're really confirming everybody that's been saying about, they're burying the guy. Oh, he got over, and then they aren't using him at all. They're just letting him fucking float in the wind.
Yeah, yes and no. I don't think they're as nervous internally in the sense of they know how the fans work, and say they lose, but they start pushing them hard back at it, or they have another plan. I don't think they're that fickle with it. I don't think they're that overly concerned about a whining fan base. But at the same time, the believability in what LA is supposed to be, and not only that, I mean, again, he's not like a spring chicken. This isn't like a rookie trying to figure it out, though.
Right.
His WWE career is kind of short. To me, he needs it. I'd give it to him. Logan can run around and chase after other shit, but I think he needs it.
Well, and like Anthony said, he's a guy that'll be there week in and week out. You can have that belt defended on SmackDown. We're just talking about how SmackDown needs something besides the Bloodline and Cody. There's something right there.
Yeah, and you've already kind of tinkered with like LA having issues with like Santos and
Mhm.
Carmelo. Like they're kind of doing the same thing with that division or like the mid
Andrade.
without the presence, right? So you got a
Right.
point.
Yeah, you kind of already building up potential side feuds with LA Knight being the United States champion. So I think, I'm not Triple H, but I think the only right call here is for LA Knight to pick up that US title at SummerSlam.
It has to be. It has to be.
Today was not a good day for Logan on Twitter, and it's his fault. I have no idea what they're talking about.
We can talk about it afterwards. We don't need to get that
I
involved.
don't either. I was
fair
working,
enough.
so
Like I said, we talk wrestling versus other things, so we'll keep it at that, and we'll talk about that off screen.
96% going with LA Knight.
that's the
I'll be
only right
happy.
call.
What's that?
I was saying that's the only right call when you said 96%.
96. So 4% of people holding on that LA might not win. A lot of people holding on to the idea that it is Logan Paul's hometown. Could more of his, we always see his friends kicking around. Could he, use the brass knuckles? Is it another way?
Pride Model's taking a BFT. Let's be honest here.
So yeah, I mean, I think there's a way they pull this off. It's going to upset a lot of people and leave some question marks, but Logan could win. That's not impossible.
Right.
Well, it seems like everybody's going with LA Knight. Let me talk to Rob talking about Lashley and MVP still on the roster page. We'll see.
Interesting.
Action Jackson with the Brahma with the what?
I guess we can move on to the next match.
Well, the next couple, I think we've definitely got some stuff to talk about here.
Absolutely.
Liv Morgan taking on Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Who you got and why?
I got Liv Morgan. I don't think Rhea wins it back this quickly. What would be the point of the revenge tour if she won it back so quickly, right? I don't necessarily see Rhea winning the title. Maybe Survivor Series, depending on if she's involved in War Games or maybe Royal Rumble. I think Liv has to carry it a few more months to kind of push this feud just a little bit longer. You have the factors of Dominic maybe turning on Rhea. You got the factors of Finn Balor getting involved. I'm hearing that. And one name that's been thrown around that I haven't heard of in months is Raquel Rodriguez coming back to save Liv Morgan and help Liv Morgan defeat Rhea Ripley. So I think there's a lot of possibilities that could happen with this match come Saturday.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot over the last few days. I've actually heard a lot of Charlotte Flair rumors. Like not with this storyline, but just returning. But the idea that Raquel could come in and kind of be Liv's heavy, go back to being, heel Raquel, kind of the way she did with Dakota, instead of being the back attack, Jack, whack. It's whack, whatever. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know where this came from. I simply thought up until Monday that this was a slam dunk. Dom was going to screw Rhea and join, like Liv and Dom are going to be the it couple moving forward.
I think that's 100% the case here of Liv retains by some means. Well, I see Daniel Corden mentioning Lana. CJ Perry has also been rumored to potentially show up. That's Sportskeeda. That they're clickbait worse than Meltzer is. Sportskeeda. So don't them no fucking mind. They're out there with Ringsider News and everything like that. All that. They're just trash. They just literally take tweets and just run with them like they're fucking stories. But anyways, no, this to me, I think they did everything on Monday to throw people off the scent and throw people off the trail of Dom's going to turn around and screw Rhea. Because I think if you would have ended it, I think they had the wrong segments in the wrong order almost. What they did 2 weeks ago, I think would have been a nice little send off because you left it a little bit of, were they working when Dom's telling Liv to go piss off and everything like that. If they would have ended it there, then you don't know if he's being honest, genuine, or if he's really, doing it they're playing a game to work over Rhea. the whole segment now, like I said, that they had last week of burning the shirt with Dom looming over in the truck and everything, I think was literally just to throw people off the trail of that. Everybody's kind of gotten to that conclusion of that's probably where we're going to go, because it's Eddie and China 2.0. So I think they did that to throw people off of maybe it is really going to be that they're together and Liv just goes on this tirade, or like you guys were talking about, if Raquel shows up or that person shows up, Charlotte Flair shows up and just gets involved for no goddamn reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of got where you were going with the storyline. I think they played it out well, as far as now Liv is irate and single white female and Fatal Attraction. You picked the movie. She's doing all of them.
Yeah.
And again, what if it is a Raquel shows up and Dom hasn't quite decided to leave Rhea yet? That I like the misdirection idea of pulling us one way of like, but at any point Dom could have had the epiphany, or they come out on Monday and Liv's all smiles. You really think he was going to turn me away? But I think it's all really going to be interesting, and I think the place is going to come unglued when we get the result of this one.
I think this could potentially be Liv Morgan's best match in her career come Saturday. I think that's a big possibility here.
It's been her best character stuff for sure.
Yeah.
It's just been her best stuff, period. Like I feels like 2024, we can say that with a lot of pro wrestlers, of this has been the best stuff of their career so far. Now, I think Anthony mentioned it earlier. What if, say, a Finn Balor or a Finn Balor gets involved? Because there's even people reading the tea leaves to where when she tore up the clubhouse and everything, that his face wasn't touched up with the spray paint. He was playing, gatekeeper with the hotel ID card and everything like that. So maybe they're more in cahoots.
I do love a good conspiracy and a good mystery. So I did see people pointing out that Finn's face was untouched. We did have the previous segment where Liv got out of the car that Finn was in. So, don't want to imply anything, but what were they doing in the car? And then he was the one that took the hotel room key, nobody else. And then we forgot about the hotel room key being hijacked. We never really investigated much further. So there is a lot of doors open of like, what if it's Finn? What if Rhea and Dom do stick it out together some way, somehow, but it was Finn the whole time? And this is leading into what's going to happen later in the night and what's going to happen in the future as Finn coming to the forefront as a challenger.
Could we see the Judgment Day of Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, JD McDonough, and Carlito?
Yes.
That sounds like a universe mode faction. Honestly.
I was just about to say that. It sounds like an alternate universe.
Is anybody anticipating a Becky appearance? I'm not.
No. I don't think we see Becky for a hot minute. I don't think we see Becky until maybe Royal Rumble. She might even just skip out on WrestleMania altogether this year or next year, I should say. I don't know. I think she's taking a lengthy time off.
I could see her potentially showing up at Mania. That would almost be the closest I'd put her coming back.
Right.
Fair enough. And your previous question, I mean, as far as with Finn, there's a lot of potential here if he's the reason why this implodes, and they decide, we're sick of Rhea. Maybe they're sick of Rhea and Damian. Could Liv actually be like replacing Rhea in Judgment Day?
If you're gonna end the revenge tour or have a big moment, because she's already having the women's world championship, her taking control of Judgment Day, I feel like will be the ultimate revenge moment for her. So I actually like that idea, KJ.
She said she was gonna take everything.
Well, I think that part was kind of almost a given to me of like, if she's even paired up with Dom, like I think they still stay in Judgment Day. You probably, spoiler alert for predictions early, you boot out Priest, you boot out Rhea, and then you've still got the Judgment Day Sans two people that we all kind of figured were going to be the ones that turned babyface out of the group.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fairly accurate as far as, having Damian, they're trying to make him a babyface quick. We saw how Gunther was talking to him. Rhea, everybody loves Rhea, so that's already a foregone conclusion. That one's an easy one. So yeah, separate the people you want cheered from the people who are getting booed. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, and you could really double that. I think, especially if you add Liv, and it would still be interesting. And really, you'd have to run through everything and show everybody of, see, well, when you thought this, and we were actually doing this, and da 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 da. But you get Liv there, maybe Finn's the one aligned with her, but even you get Dom involved coming off of turning on Rhea. You thought this man got booed before. This man literally, you're not going to know if he's even breathing. It's going to be that goddamn.
And the beauty of a part of that is that will bleed over onto Liv. Like Liv is going to take.
Those two.
Like there are a lot of there's a lot of simp power that you got to kind of chisel through to make Liv Morgan a pure heel.
If that happens, you start off Monday Night Raw with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, and just they do the Roman Reigns after like he beat Taker, and you just don't say anything and just let them boo themselves out.
Do the Edge and Lita. We're gonna make
love. No, that's the simp shit. That's the simp shit talking right there. That's
right. Let's go. We're gonna put a stamp on this. We're gonna get pure heat.
That you gotta wait till the Netflix deal before you can do that.
Finn needs to go solo. His talents, I don't think his talents are being wasted. 2-time tag champion with JD. Him and JD, I think, are an underrated tag team.
I really liked them initially. I remember you and I arguing constantly of I thought that they were just going to keep JD and Finn separate, or like there was going to be something there with them being together because they're the two Irish lads. But I liked them as, say, the representation of Judgment Day in the tag division. Right. You got to realize Finn's still 40 and above. Like, you know, Prince Devita is not so young anymore.
Right.
Geekbox, what up, my guy?
Hey, Wrestling for Life boys, just streamed an hour and a half and I'm knackered. How do y'all do 5? 5's a drop in the bucket, my guy. 5.
That's what we do 5 and then come back and do 2, 3 more.
we did 5 at 10 o'clock in the morning this weekend.
For progress that we hadn't watched before.
Geekbox would have been happy because we were, afternoon time for him.
Right.
No, we love doing it. You got to love it. You got to love it. And you got to be, we're live a lot. I'm surprised
it
more.
It takes a special level of insanity.
Facts. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Finney got that one. Anything else about, what did the poll say? 76% saying Liv. So it's funny because if we would have done this poll 2 weeks before Rhea came back, it would have been 100% Rhea. Everybody was saying the same shit. I remember fighting on this stream about it of like, Rhea's winning. There's no way when Rhea comes back, Liv is dead. And then it was like, hold up. And you see the story they're telling. It's right there in front of us.
Hey, we gonna rock it till the wheels fall off. But yeah, no, I was right there. I was 100%. I was, simping for Rhea. No, she just shows up. She's the eradicator. She's mommy. She just shows up and just destroys everybody. And she goes back to being one of the top superstars in pro wrestling. But then you're like, but if they do this, it'll be that much cooler. And then you extend it a little bit. I'm like, yep, sold.
Yeah, right. Like, it's funny, man. I mean, again, to their credit, that's the story they're telling. That's what they want everyone to follow. Like, we're following the bouncing balls like good little puppies.
Pause.
Right. Pause. Big pause.
Jolie saying, do you think there could be a possibility that Dom gets stuck between Rhea and Liv, which makes Rhea lose the match in order to take him away from Judgment Day? Well, just to expand on that, is there a possibility that the I don't know who I love carries on past SummerSlam?
In the sense of the only way I could see you halfway even doing anything with that is you get the spot to where Dom sells it of, I wasn't trying to screw you over, but I just so happened to screw you over type of thing. I don't know. I mean, do you see him do like the Sex Pest ref thing to where he just rolls around and then you have Liv and Rhea fighting each other while he's in the middle there? Or is that what we're talking about, Dom in the middle here? But no, maybe you see him get in the way of, screws up Rhea going for something and that costs, Liv to go for a roll up or whatever. Do you think you get a clear defined heel turn? or turn, I should say?
That's a good question.
I think so. I think so. I think you get a clear defined heel turn at SummerSlam. I don't think they drag out the love part between each two. I think you get a clear answer on SummerSlam at SummerSlam.
Yeah, you go for that moment, I think, right? Like it's a
Right.
bigger moment if you just dig right into it. If you do it like 3-4 weeks from now, or at the next pay-per-view or the pay-per-view after that, where he's like, he finally decided, we might be over by then. Like, bro, we knew what you were doing.
I feel like I'm already writing Raw after SummerSlam in my head. And again, I'll be completely fine if this doesn't happen this way. But you have, like I said, you have Dom and Rhea or Dom and Liv kick it off till they get booed out. And right before they're about to talk, this is my brutality. Like, because you got to have Rhea come out here at some point after this if she gets screwed over and just want to tear everybody limb from goddamn limb here.
Yeah. They should go old school, like Liv versus Rhea. And if Rhea wins, she gets 5 minutes in a cage with Dom, like that kind of like old school.
To bring back like a weasel suit with Bobby Heenan or something like that.
Cornette angle.
Yeah, or have a Dom in a Shark Tank above, the match, and he just clang, 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 clang. I need nuggets, clang, clang, clang.
Quickly jumping back just quickly because we missed this earlier, but any chance that Charlotte does return? I don't think Charlotte's ready for the return. But Bayley wins, Charlotte comes out, kind of thing.
No, I think, and we can talk about this later on, I think that there's probably still one big return that happens on this show. And again, you have too many, they start to get overshadowed. And why would you fire off all the rounds when you've got, you can fire them off at different times?
Yeah, Raw, SmackDown.
I don't see Charlotte returning at SummerSlam. I want her to come back, but I don't think it'll be SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree. Priest and Rhea versus Liv and Finn at Bash. Interesting.
Ooh.
Mixed tag. Let's go. I'm in. That'd be fun, actually.
Yeah.
So then who does Gunther face?
Ilya.
I was gonna say, fuck off. But we're putting the cart before the horse with that match. Yeah.
Scaffold match. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think we got our votes in on that one. What's next?
Well, so we were already talking about it, and we kind of already halfway gave away how we were feeling about it, I feel, with that last comment. So Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Why is it Gunther?
I think it has to be Gunther. It's Gunther because it's time. It's Gunther because it's time. I think it's time for him to take that main event scene on Raw by storm. I think he walks into Bash at the Berlin as champion and still walks out as champion. He needs to walk into his home country as champion. And I think SummerSlam he pulls it out. I've enjoyed Damian Priest's reign. I really have. I think it's been, in my words, it's been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed it. And I will be sad for him to lose the title this coming Saturday, but it's Gunther. It's always going to be Gunther. And that's who really needs it at this point. It's Gunther.
You want me to go so you can still think it over? I know you're torn about this whole thing. Do you need me to go so you can still debate about it?
I'm just going to decide how far I'm going to dig, but you can go.
No, go ahead. I want to hear this.
Just like Court, I'll let you have this one. I owe you one.
No, you know who I'm going with. It's got to be Gunther. I've already picked against Priest enough as it is, and it's not a knock on him. He somehow manages to keep out surprising me here. But like Anthony said, Gunther kind of needs this. I think this has been setting. We've seen the chessboard already being laid out, I feel, to where this is going to be Gunther's moment here a little bit, and it sets up. So he holds it going into Bash. We've still got that, and maybe we get a Priest versus Balor feud, whether Sans live or not, coming out of this. So that's the thing, is we could still just have Finn shows up and costs Damian, and we just get those two in a singles feud, and maybe we even potentially get back Demon Balor.
Yeah, all of that sounds accurate and possible. It really does. I've been adamant for a long time that Gunther was going to win at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get close to SummerSlam, and I'm like, shit, I don't know. Damian's been on a run. Damian's been underrated. Damian, a lot of people, certain people, never really see Damian having the ability to win. The question becomes, do you instantly run it back at Berlin if Gunther isn't successful at SummerSlam? Does he get the win in Berlin and have that moment there? Is it that important? Do they care? I am so torn on how this one is going to play out.
If he doesn't win here, then he has to win at Berlin. If you're going to run it back in Berlin, then he's got to win there.
Yeah, and that's where it gets tricky because, okay, so if Damian beats Gunther, what causes Damian to beat Gunther? I can't see a world where Damian beats Gunther straight up one-on-one.
Vici.
Interesting. That would blow.
Will that be the only out? That's your only out. That's the thing, is this man's gonna concave this man's chest, I feel.
Yeah, you're not you're not completely wrong. I mean, again, I think that Gunther winning at SummerSlam, Damian going on to feud with Finn makes sense. It makes sense. A lot of sense. It really makes sense. I don't know. There's just my gut is telling me that Damian's going to take this win for some reason. And then you hold off and then Finn turns and then you go Finn Balor and you bring back the Demon for Bad Blood.
Well, fair with that. And I could still see, but then you get the screwy finish that helps Gunther win at Berlin, or would you rather him go over clean at Berlin? Because I don't hate the idea of he wins the title at Berlin, because then the crowd's going to go insane even more, even if he just lost his chance at it. But then you've got to find a way to run it back, find a reasoning, what have you. And like you even said, this man's calling him, street rat, riff raff. I don't buy that with all of this, all of his promos. So I think this is setting up pretty strong for this to be Gunther's moment.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think a bit of the saving grace in my head is that Bash in Berlin's August, but it's the end of the month. It's in this month,
there.
So it's a few weeks away. Man, this one's hard. I think I'm going to pick Damian just to be difficult, and it makes more fun when it happens.
That's the thing, is you literally could be right. I've bet against this man a half a dozen times and been wrong every fucking time. So
right. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Damian. I think with so much other shit going on, I mean, not every match can be a chaos. Not every match. Right. This isn't the other company. You're not having a run in and a bleed over and no DQ in every single match. They're not going to do that.
We've talked about that, as how many matches on a 7-match card could you have that have screwy interference? Because we've already talked about a few that could have it. And if this one has it too, I think you and I, it might have been Monday Night Raw or NXT, we were talking about it, and came down to, at minimum, it felt like 4 matches out of a 7-match card were going to have an interference or a screwy finish or something.
Yeah, there's potential for at least 4 of the matches to have some type of interference. But I feel like if we're putting this on SummerSlam, I feel like the only interference that really is going to happen, we'll be talking about later in the potential main event. I think that'll be the interference. And knowing Triple H, I don't think it'll be, out of all the interferences, I can see 2 matches, and that being the one we'll talk about, in just a few, and then the Women's World Championship match. I feel like those are kind of like maybe the 2 obvious that will have some type of interference.
Does Seth not count as interference because he's the referee in the match?
For me, it doesn't, because he's the referee. Okay. Like he's bound to get involved some type of way. Yeah. He might do a super kick or something. So I think in my mind, I just don't really call it an interference because he's a part of the match.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and again, we started thinking about it. LA Knight wins the belt. That's a title change. Even if Liv does retain, you also have, what are we thinking? Sami loses, so Bron title change.
But, you could have a fuck ton of title changes. I'll give that.
Yeah, 3 title changes potentially. Cody's title's not going anywhere, not to spoil anything that we're about to talk about. But 3 title changes, multiple different angles. It's crazy. It's chaos. I love it. I love the fact this is one of the best shows as far as your guess is as good mine, bro. I could see it going one of multiple ways. I am going to pick Damian on the record just to be difficult and be one of the only people. But it was, what do we get? 68% for Gunther out of the chat.
Ooh, a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a clear kind of cut there. So there's some wavering right there.
See, the thing for me is the way Triple H has been talking about Damian and the way that the perception of like, it's almost like, yeah, we know some of the fans haven't quite fully got behind this guy yet, but we believe in him and we can make him that guy. Like, I wonder how much of that plays into this of like, no, if he just keeps winning, they'll start cheering. They'll get it. And like, I like the guy, but there is a big contingent that don't.
I like him. I just think like I liked his title run as well as it was. Everything like that. I'm happy with it. I'm not going to be sad if it ends at SummerSlam. I think it's run its course a little bit. You mentioned with Triple H, and I'll say this, and this could even just be my opinion. I feel like it's also been kind of covering for a lot of shit. There's a reason that they haven't gotten behind him and everything. He's every match that he's been a little sloppy. He's had at least a botch in every match. I know we don't want to call him out all the time. And also every match he's been put in, he feels like you're expecting him to lose to the extent like I know you and I have had it out like him versus Drew in Scotland. You were setting it up clearly. It felt like, everybody that he's been against seems like he's second fiddle.
Yeah, I don't get the second fiddle vibe because I knew I picked him to win. So I was kind of like first fiddle.
Right. Well, yes, but of that there was like him versus Drew, there was a contingent that you could have very easily made the case that everybody kind of felt like Drew was going to win there. It's even right now, even what we're talking about with Gunther, it seems every title defense that he's had seems like it's felt more like a slam dunk for the other guy.
But I like that. I think that's well done. I think that's the same thing in like a lot of times with UFC or boxing, where like the hot challenger, somebody that's on the next one up, this is going to be the guy that takes the belt off the champ. The champ's in trouble. No, he held on. But I think he doesn't
feel like he's the guy defending the title against the young upstart challenger. It feels like he's the young upstart challenger defending the title.
They've made Damian Priest, which I kind of think is a good thing, is a underdog champion. Like you don't expect him to win, but he does. And I think they built that up nicely. I really do. And I can say when it came to the Seth Rollins match and Drew McIntyre, it seemed like Damian Priest was like the outsider as the world champion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was kind of like an underdog thing that they were doing with Damian Priest, I feel like. And so I know Nick, like you don't like Damian Priest, and
I like
fine.
Damian Priest,
and that's fine. But I feel like this has just been a true underdog champion story, something that I don't think people really expected from.
And that's fine.
Damian
but how long do you stay the underdog before you at least have to have at least even betting odds?
Well, that's why I think
you need to be the favorite. But like my guy,
I'd argue that he might have been a slight favorite against Seth just under the circumstance. But again, the Seth and name wise, we could go back and forth on that all day. No, I like it. I mean, again, it feels like, and I'm not making a direct comparable between them, but as far as the title run goes, I felt like that way with some of my fate. Like if you look at when Shawn Michaels was a champion, he, you thought he was going to lose every time. He's fighting someone bigger, stronger, better. This has been a proving ground from Damian Priest. So part of me wonders, and why my hesitation to think that he's just going to lose. is this idea of him continuing to prove himself and the company letting him prove himself.
I get the underdog thing and everything. I just feel like, how many times do you need to prove yourself before you at least start to at least feel like you've got a solid footing on this?
I really think the moment that they could have had him prove himself was against Seth Rollins. And I was saying that for a couple of weeks, like this was the big match for Damian Priest. And I feel like the Drew McIntyre involvement with him trying to cash in ruined that big moment for Damian Priest. That's why I was kind of upset that Drew McIntyre won Money in the Bank, then tried to cash in. I feel like this was the calling point for Damian Priest to beat Seth Rollins clean.
But do the issues in Damian matches as well,
But
self-inflicted as they failure to kick out. He sat there and hung himself up in the damn ropes and everything. Like
so
that.
Richard's got a point. Priest got temporarily knocked out by Seth, and his leg got stuck in the rope. So the one botch he got hooked up on.
He said he wasn't going to kick out either way. I don't think he's defending that he wasn't knocked out. He's saying that he wasn't knocked out. So we thought that it looked that way. Priest has said himself
he wasn't going to kick out. Like he said he wasn't knocked out.
Yeah,
he said that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he said that. I thought the story was. I heard the story going around that he was dazed, and that's where he missed getting his shoulder up. He wasn't supposed to take the pin at that time, and that was the moment.
Either way, that's but semantics of I'm saying of.
So you're hanging him on
cash in versus slip ups constantly.
Or for the
constant slip ups, 2 slip ups, like
for the rope slip up.
And you're supposed to be prove it as high balloons in your prove it matches. In your supposed to be, we're gonna let him establish himself.
You can't have it like he slipped and got caught.
I'm not saying you can't do that, but I'm saying if you're going to hold these matches of what I was countering was Anthony talking about that Drew cashing in was what ruined Priest match with Seth and so on and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm questioning of if it's these mishaps. I get that they're going to happen. I'm not hanging him up on that, but if those have hung up his title reign.
I don't think so. I think there's been 2 moments out of, an extended title reign beyond those 2 moments.
And then at least with the rope slip up, I think the ropes were possessed that night because the same thing happened to Jay Cargill. And then I believe there was a video going around that the ref was warning AJ Styles about the ropes as well. Yeah. So I think the ropes were just possessed that night. I'm defending Priest on that part.
But yeah, I think again, the idea that the word that was used was constant mess ups. Constant. Like the man's done several things, had several matches. He had the really good match where they gave him the win, and I think on purpose they gave Damian the win over Bron clean. No assistance, no anything. Right. Big win for Damian. And again, a moment there was, nothing stands out in my head from that match that was a botch or a slip. So to say like constant mistakes, I don't.
He won the title in April. We're in August, so you average 1 title defense on a pay-per-view once a month. So that's 2 months. So that's half your title reign. That's half your title reign. To where in your prominent matches you've had a mishap.
Okay, so Seth.
I'm not knocking him for him or anything like that. I'm just wondering if that's taken away from how people view his title reign because half of his matches have had a mishap in them.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the big thing that people are hanging their hats on is maybe not the most charismatic promo, maybe not the biggest personality, a little bit of that darker, quieter person. I think that's what hangs him up. I haven't seen anybody, and I mean you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen a whole lot of like this guy's always making mistakes. That you suck.
No, that's fine. Like I said, I was literally just posing the question in the discussion because I have seen like what you were talking about of like when it was Gunther, Drew, and Priest all having a promo segment together. Well, you have 3 heels technically having a discussion together. Doesn't exactly land the way you think it's going to, especially with and Priest is your champion there.
Yeah. Now, this is more of an issue that I think that what Anthony was talking about as well is like you have the cash and you have the interference, you have these moments that have kind of taken away, like in the Seth, CM Punk stuff, and Drew was more important than Damian.
Fair.
The other things, the moving parts around Damian are bigger than Damian.
Valid.
Yeah,
You worry though
because
that
the whole feud with Seth Rollins was for Seth Rollins to prove that Damian Priest couldn't do this by himself. And then at the end of the day, we had a cash in. And then CM Punk got involved for Damian Priest to pick up the victory. Not saying that was Damian Priest's fault, but they had 3 stories going on in one match when it should have just been focused on Seth Rollins and Damian Priest.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is that an indictment on the booking, or is that an indictment on Priest, or both?
And is it really an indictment on anyone other than the fact of just there's certain storms that you can't avoid? Like, it's just time. Sometimes the universe, just the timing of things is the way it is. Like, you know, CM Punk gets hurt, but you're not going to underutilize CM Punk, so you're maximizing him. Drew's hot. Seth was injured. Yet Seth comes back. Like, you have all these moving parts and you're building towards something. And maybe it is the fact of the names that we're talking about are probably better suited long term as the top guys, right?
Right.
I think the only thing I would book differently about that night was having CM Punk cost Drew the Money in the Bank contract, because it's technically the same difference, because you're costing him a future world title shot, right? He cashed in, he cost him the title there. If he would have just interfered in the Money in the Bank match, which is already interference allowed because it's that type of match, he could have been right up there, and he could have had a Chelsea Green moment, right? With CM Punk coming in, pushing him off the ladder. He goes through 2 tables, or any other circumstance there. I would have booked that a little different, because you still could have pushed that feud with him and Drew McIntyre till this moment. But they had to get Seth Rollins involved and then make him the guest referee. I think that's where, for me, it kind of got screwy. Like, you could have cost Drew the World Heavyweight Championship by costing him the Money in the Bank match.
And that's valid, because a lot of people thought that was going to be the interference. Like, that's where we were going to get Punk, was going to be during that match. So that's incredibly valid.
Yeah, absolutely. And Richard, we kind of talked about this in the past. We're not going to get too far into this one as we keep things rolling. But I mean, again, the interesting booking, and that's where the options are what they are. But I'm going to go Damian. You guys are going Gunther. We'll see. I think it would be a huge kind of surprising upset win if Damian can pull it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about and hinted about this match, even though I feel like this should be the main event. So, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins as your special guest referee, and Dave Meltzer. If you're upset by his referee attire on Monday Night Raw, I suggest you don't watch SummerSlam, because boy howdy, just wait.
Yeah, no.
Seth Rollins is gonna come out like Tasha Steelz came out at Slammiversary with the Cruella DeVille outfit. That's what he's coming out as at SummerSlam.
He's going to be striped head to toe, period. I said it on Monday. Part of me was like, you know what? Being that this is such a serious grudge match based in so much hatred, maybe Seth could just tone it the fuck down for a night. Just, kind of fall to the background. But that ain't Seth's style. So, yeah, I expect him to go big on this one. I hope it's not like short shorts and a belly top. I don't know what the man's going to do.
I think it might be that. It might be, very much HBK as special guest referee, Daisy Dukes in a cutoff shirt there.
Right.
Sean Astin in, what was it, 41st Dates,
Right.
It's just Deuce. But yeah, and to me, I think because there is so much of a blood feud with this, having something that's a focus away from that makes that almost feel more important a little bit, makes them almost stand out a little bit, because you have something that's differentiating it. So I'm not opposed to Seth being involved in here, and I still think he'll have that moment to where he'll be goofy Seth, but he'll snap back into burn it down. But so who do you guys have? Why? How many run-ins, count-outs, disqualifications, weapon shots? Is this just no holds barred?
I
Go ahead,
I
Anthony.
surprisingly have CM Punk.
Oh,
I have Punk winning. I don't have an explanation why, Nick, but
that was part of the
winning.
question, sir. If you only answer half the question, you receive half credit.
I don't know. I feel like if you have CM Punk win, you can push this potentially to Bad Blood, right? I feel like you can potentially push this to Bad Blood if you have CM Punk win.
Well, I think you could do it either way.
Fair enough.
I agree. They probably, potentially could do it either way. I think no matter what, this is an ongoing thing. It's been solid. Do you have Punk go over as a return, remind everyone he can do it? Or does Drew, is the story coming out of this better if CM Punk's trying to get his revenge on Drew now? Because the bulk of this story has been Drew trying to kill Punk.
Yes. Well, and also, do you have potentially the loser of this feud face, say, Seth at Bash?
Okay.
Well, it all depends on, I know you've talked about potential triple threat at Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. It's even interesting of how you can spiral out of this. Because no matter what, I feel like we're getting, in one way or another, every person involved in here in singles matches against each other, but also in probably triple threats, what have you. Like, there's 18 million ways that this could spiral out of. This is probably the hardest decision to figure out how this is going to fucking go, I feel.
No, absolutely. I think it's a tough one to call. What do you think, Anthony?
It really is. It could go both ways. I think the reason why I'm really leaning towards CM Punk, because I feel like this is his first singles televised match since he came back.
Yep.
And I think he might need it a little bit more to show that he can still go.
But do you want to have him win and have him set up? If you think he needs more time to go and everything, do you have him win and set up to where, all right, so now you've got to turn around in a quick succession, have another pay-per-view match potentially on another pay-per-view, or do you have it to where he at least, cool, good game, I got through that match. All right, I made through that match without being injured, so now let's see if I can get through a match and win this time without being injured. And then maybe we'll move on from that.
Yeah, his durability is going to be a big question no matter how this plays out. Everyone's going to want to know, can Punk do it? Can Punk's body hold up? Is Punk going to miss, a step? I really hope not. I really hope this is dialed in. For me, I visualize there a moment where Punk has Drew pinned and him and Seth are staring each other in the eyes, and Seth is reluctantly counting 1, 2, 3 for Punk over Drew. That is the moment I think they build to with this one.
Fair enough. That's not actually a bad show, because there's going to be that moment. There's going to be that tension, especially. I think there's more tension between Seth and Punk than there is Seth and Drew, to be honest. And I do really like the ending shots where Drew pulls up the whole bracelet of, I have people chant my name, and then he just pulls up the bracelet. So I think you're going to see CM Punk go hell for leather. I think he's going to fucking wrestle. Like, if this is the last match I have, this is how I go the fuck out. Because honestly, this has been the best story that CM Punk's had built in recent memory. You could argue, even through CM Punk MJF dog collar match, this has been the best story that CM Punk has had since he left WWE. So I think he wrestles like his fucking hair's on fire. Like, could be his last goddamn match. And Drew McIntyre's picking up the win, because I could even see a point, like I think I've talked about it, it was Brett Taker or Sean as the referee, to where you have Sean all set up to clatter him and then ducks out of the way, and wrong person eats a chair shot. 1, 2, God damn it, 3, and there we go.
No, I agree. I completely agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
But in my version,
I know, and I get it. And that's the thing is, you
he
could be
goes to kick.
completely right.
He goes to kick Punk, misses Punk, and hits Drew, and then has to count. And pissed off about it.
Now,
I like both of the scenarios.
Could you see though a scenario to where Drew goes for a Claymore, Punk dodges out the way, he Claymores Seth, and everything, and like that's the thing is there's going to be so many moving parts, so much that's intertwined here that it's just going to be enjoyable to watch. Of because at any moment, like we normally still don't always bite on false finishes and everything like that. In this match, you're biting on every single false finish. You're biting on everything.
Right.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't really think I have anything else to add. Both of the scenarios you guys presented, I think, could potentially happen. One with Drew McIntyre winning, one with CM Punk winning. One of the craziest things that could happen that we haven't seen in a very long time in WWE is maybe no one wins this match.
Yeah. That right now is tied. Actually, it passed Drew. So 29% of the chat think nobody wins. 25 say Drew. 46% say it's going to be CM Punk.
The hell is wrong with you people? But I think ultimately, I personally think Drew wins because this has been so heavy of CM Punk fucking with Drew. Drew needs to get a win. He doesn't need to get the win. He needs to get a win. And this is his opportunity to get a win.
I go back though to WrestleMania where like that was the moment where Drew McIntyre really screwed Drew McIntyre. He had the championship. CM Punk was just on commentary. That was it. CM Punk
didn't we argue about this in court?
CM Punk did not antagonize him or anything. It was Drew that caused all of this. And basically what he did at WrestleMania was the fallout after. And I think if he would have just took his title and went on to the back, we wouldn't be in this situation. Drew has screwed Drew the entire time.
Is it fair to argue that they had like the last person to kind of get one up would be Drew? Drew took, put him in the ambulance, right? Like Drew is the last person to kind of have a moment here. So technically,
that's his only one up. Think about it. Name another Drew getting one up on Punk. You had Punk at WrestleMania, at Clash, at Money in the Bank. There's 3 instances right there that I can think of off the rip of Punk screwing over Drew here.
I still don't count the WrestleMania as Punk screwing over Drew. I don't count that. Drew screwed himself that night.
Okay, yeah, you're out there. Brett screwed Brett too.
Yeah, Drew screwed Drew. All he had to do was go home with the belt and go home and be happy, but he fucked it up, and now we're in this mess. But no, like I said, I see the exact same scenario that you see. In my head, they're just different parts.
And that's fine. And either one works perfectly because I do still think the end game is still going to spiral out of this. I still think you probably have at WrestleMania, or at some point, you're going to get a CM Punk versus Seth Rollins match. You're going to get a Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins match. You're very much going to get this. We've even talked about it, you especially, of potential of a triple threat Hell in a Cell, which has been talked about at Bad Blood, or at least a Hell in a Cell, because this has been the best, literally blood feud of when I see you, and it's on site of, you have Drew banging on, loading gates as he's out there dumping Punk's carcass out of a moving truck and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no. Dude, I think this one, the last 2 matches, and going into this one, we could spend another 2 hours just debating this one match, and people feel very passionate about it in every direction. It's awesome.
100%. But that's the thing, is that we can argue different points of views on every goddamn match on this entire show, which is fantastic. Of anything that comes out of here, especially even like with this match, I think this match and maybe a little of the Priest and Gunther match. Definitely at least, the Liv and Rhea match is going to be good, is going to carry over into other storylines and spiral into ways we might not have even thought were possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Has
a lot
there
of
been-
possibilities in a lot of these matches at SummerSlam. I think this card has the opportunity to be one of the best cards in a long time. Also has the opportunity to be having some of the craziest moments that we've seen in a long time. And I think Triple H and the creative team have did a very good job of keeping us on our toes of who could win or who could potentially not win.
100%.
I, for halfway second, got worried and thought you were saying this could have the best of outcomes and the worst of outcomes.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, God.
Well, the fantasy booking contingent are all going to lose their mind. Anything that that they didn't expect, or if several, if 5 of these 7 matches don't have twists, they have just straight up winners. People are going to, oh, this is silly, this is stupid. But it is what it is. I mean, going in I find it so compelling this time.
But this is why we need to have this as a disclaimer of other people, have to say that they might be reporting false news or anything like that. We don't do that. We're just letting you know if you get caught up in the fantasy story that you booked and they don't do it because the way you wanted it to, doesn't mean that what they did is bad or wrong. It's just let them play the story out as it is. Don't get yourself caught up in how you would have done it.
Right.
150%. But I think that brings us to the final
battle. Oh, no,
battle.
I know you were going to ask a question because I saw it in the chat and I saw you start to go there of asking if there had ever been a triple threat Hell in a Cell match before.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Has there been?
I was literally Googling that while Anthony was talking, and there has happened one time before. And it also just so happens to feature one CM Punk.
Yeah,
I was trying to call him Philip and just started with a C somehow. I combined Philip and Seymour together.
Philip
here,
Seymour Hoffman was in a Hell in a Cell back in 19.
Right, yes. But no, it was your favorite wrestler, Alberto Del Rio.
Oh, that asshole. Okay.
Taking on John Cena and CM Punk at Hell in a Cell 2011 in a triple threat Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship.
Now I'm even more inclined that this is going to be a thing.
Wow. I mean, the only other time that it's happened featured CM Punk. So
run it back, bro.
Could be.
Want Bron and LA to walk out as champions. Interesting.
They will.
But without further ado, I believe the main event is all that's left.
And now, so I will preface this. If this is not
the match, just focus on the match.
I understand that if you'd let me get to what I was saying. Thank you.
All right, shoot your shot.
No, I was saying if this isn't the main event, do you get Roman returning? That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, that's why I was like, we'll get to but
fair enough.
Yeah, being the main event spot would tell us a lot. I think. I don't know what you think, Anthony.
Yeah, I think this match is main eventing. Regardless of what happens, I think this match is main eventing. You can argue the other matches, but I definitely believe Roman Reigns is returning at SummerSlam. If he doesn't, bottom line, it doesn't happen. But I still think this match main events with or without Roman returning.
Yeah, because it gives you the illusion of it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. So who do you have winning?
Oh, Cody. I guess that's
Okada.
No, I think it's Cody. Cody has to win, right?
Yeah, 92% of the chat saying Cody. I'm saying Cody. You're saying Cody. I'm sure Nick's gonna say Cody. It's Cody. It's Cody.
Right.
Well, so that I guess goes to the question of if this isn't the main event, do we get a Roman? Should this be the main event? Could this not be the main event, even if we get a Roman? Is it? How do you feel? I guess I'll ask this about Cody Rhodes' title reign and what have you. If this is, Roman Reigns returning depends on if this is the main event of the attraction and appeal, I feel.
No, I think I mean, are you saying that the Roman returning or not returning is more appealing than the match?
A bit.
Oh no, I'm looking forward to the match. I like the fact that the Bloodline's been destroying everybody. But yeah, I think a big appeal to the overall scenario is how this plays out. And again, I don't think it's separate from Cody. I think they've done a really good job of nobody has Cody's back. Cody has no friends left. They've taken them out. They've one by one systematically isolated Cody. What happened? And I think it works.
I have, and I teased about it on Twitter, I have this wild scenario about Roman Reigns' return. I think we've all kind of played out that we'll eventually get Bloodline versus Bloodline at Survivor Series War Games. All right, so this match is the main event. Setting the stage, it's the main event. We have some type of interference. Referee gets knocked out. Roman Reigns returns during the main event. We all think that Roman Reigns goes immediately after Solo.
Interesting.
But what if he actually attacks Cody and helps Solo win the title? And we think Roman Reigns falls in line with the new bloodline. He gets involved with the new bloodline just to get intel until he actually turns on Solo.
I think you lost me at the end.
Sleeper cell, my guy. Mission Impossible. Secret agent man.
I could see all of that playing out until the little bit of the twist at the end. Because if you had Roman come back, actually take out Cody, give Solo the win, because now the belt's back in the bloodline, which is priority one. All right, screw you, Cody, which is not going to happen, but it could. But then he's okay with it. He doesn't fall in the ranks or anything, but more of, you are my family and we're going to make this kind of until it doesn't work. But again, a bit of a pipe dream, I think, overall.
That's why I said it was wild. That's why I said it was wild.
Like a Samoan, it was wild.
Well, here's some side question. Any chance that Tala Tonga shows up? And
just call him Hikuleo. Please don't call him Tala Tonga. I don't want to acknowledge that name until they fucking force it upon us.
How tall is Lance?
Not taller than Tala.
It'd be funny if it was Tala and not so Tala.
Yeah, Tala and Sami. Tala and Mida. But could it be a Jimmy? That's the thing is, I feel this match realistically to me is dependent on it only warrants its main event spot if Roman returns. To me, if Roman's not showing up, which I'm still fine with for right now, if it could be a Jimmy, it could be, I don't think you get a Hikuleo. I don't think you get anyone that could help Solo because Solo's not winning. That's just not happening. I think you could maybe get Randy shows up and, RKO Solo, and then right after he helps Cody win, he just does the little fuck it and then just turns around and RKO's Cody because we've seen him creeping eyeing that belt. I think this match depends solely on Roman returning for this to warrant a main event. Liv and Rhea should main event this over this. If Roman's not going to be there, Drew and CM Punk should main event this over Cody and Solo. If Roman's not going to be there, this match depends being on the main event, being in the main event if Roman's there.
I disagree completely. I think that this match is your world title, your biggest baby face, your biggest, most prominent title that we always talk about. Solo and the Bloodline have beat the shit out of Cody for weeks to the point where people said, please stop. I think there's no problem with this being the main event of the pay-per-view regardless. I think it's going to be a good match. I think Solo's been a force. I definitely would not put it behind Liv and Rhea. There's a case to be made for Punk and Drew in that.
Priest and Gunther?
No, I'd still put Cody Solo above Priest and Gunther. And again, it's been one of your biggest storylines. It's ongoing. But whether Roman comes back or not, this is a main event match. It's for the world title. Yeah, I don't think it's like, oh, if Roman doesn't come back, this match should have went in third. Like, I don't think that at all.
No, I think it could open. I think it could open. If you're not first, you're last. Or if you're not last, you're first.
Maybe.
I'm kind of in agreement with KJ here. I see that it main eventing regardless of if Roman Reigns returns. And I guess it kind of goes back to a little bit of the fantasy booking too, because we don't know if he's actually returning regardless. I think we just all assume he's returning, and it could be at Bad Blood. I mean, I don't know. I just I feel like because of how big this storyline is and how they've tried to build the Bloodline 2.0, I feel like this match can main event without Roman or with Roman. Even Jimmy showing up, could be something, I don't know.
Well, I can't remember which one of you said it, but do you still have it there teasing the idea of Roman returns? But then if you do that and Roman doesn't return, do you? And again, this is all just going off of, I guess more dirt sheet perception or anything like that of how many people are really basing, Roman's going to show up there on their reaction. But do you leave it in the main event just to tease if he could show up?
I think it was going to be main event no matter what. I think the perk of it is the fact that you have this extra caveat. I admit if they were going to open the show with this, they would mean that Roman coming back is such a big moment. You're not going to open with it. You're not going to go second last with it. So the idea that this match ends up being the main event, I think makes a lot of sense. It's one of your main event storylines. But yeah, I don't think they're worried about the fan base in the sense of like, you'll get it when we give it to you. But they've teased it so hard as of late, I can't imagine it not happening.
So then, fantasy book, I guess, unless we've got more to talk about, fantasy book, how Roman Reigns, what have you, debuts, what closes out SummerSlam 2024 for you?
I think I've said it for. Oh, go ahead, Anthony. You go first.
Realistically, it's an attack on Solo. Somehow, it's an attack on Solo. I still feel a question of if the match ends with a clean pinfall during an interference. If you kind of catch my drift here, meaning like the ref is knocked out, there's an interference, and then there's a clean pinfall. But I also think on second in how this affects Roman and Cody's relationship, right? Because Cody is the one that beat him. So would you come out to attack Solo for Cody to retain the title, right? I don't know. It's crazy, but I think the end goal here is for Roman to come out and attack Solo.
Yeah, I like the idea of like a ref bump or one of those moments. And I think we saw it before with all the run-ins. I don't know if Jimmy comes back tomorrow or if Jimmy comes back on Saturday, but it would be interesting if Jimmy popped up and the crowd goes wild but they're outnumbered. And but even if you didn't do Jimmy first, because you could bring back Jimmy after the fact. But this idea that Solo, like Cody's down and out, Cody's screwed, Solo's about to win the same way we've seen Roman win dozens of times, and then that music hits. But if I was doing it, it would be Paul Heyman walks out. Ladies and gentlemen, out of nowhere, he just starts belting into that mic. I think the place comes unglued. Roman comes out and indirectly helps Cody retain by going after the bloodline.
Fair enough. I think we've talked about this enough. I agree pretty strongly with your thoughts of the only difference is I would do if everybody's out. So when you initially have it happen, I mean, I know Paul's already been taken out by the bloodline, but maybe you could tease it if he doesn't know. You don't know where Roman's alliance is going to lie, what have you, but I still really like the ladies and gentlemen, my name. And that's the thing is I think you need everybody out to give the reason for that long of a break of everything of Roman to come out, Paul to talk, all of that. And I think you have a pretty deliberate shot across the bow of Roman reminds everybody, and especially Solo, of I'm the tribal chief. You knocked on the door one too many times, and now I walked off the mountain hill. And now that's what I said always with the tribal chief of defending his, absences, title reigns, and everything like that. Of because the big dog doesn't have to get off the mountain all the time, but when you make him get off, he's gonna fuck some shit up. That's the thing, is I think if Roman's gonna show up, he's gonna show up and he's gonna fuck some shit up. All similar to SummerSlam when he showed up, debuting the new heel Roman Reigns, and he took out the Fiend and Braun Strowman.
I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. I guess I'm gonna play Nick here and pose another question.
Go ahead.
What if Roman Reigns returns at SummerSlam, and because he technically has no help, because Jay is not on his side, we really don't know where Jimmy stands, because it seems like he was with Solo for that moment until he turned, right? Until Solo turned on him. What if the new bloodline actually beats Roman Reigns down, where Roman Reigns has to rebuild with his cousins and maybe Hikuleo, that builds to War Games?
I like it. The idea, like, oh, Roman's back, he's gonna clean house, but doesn't, like, you like they get
doesn't.
And then Superman at the Fortress of Solitude trying to,
and somehow Cody still retains in that moment. But you
can cause enough that it causes a distraction, or even say Cody wins, and then after the fact, like you even said, I think earlier tonight, KJ, of to where they've done it to where you don't have the run-in that costs the match, the run-in what have you more after the match, of you have after Cody already wins and everything. Then you have, I see you, Damian, we can talk about that. But you have Roman come out, and could it be of you really getting the new bloodline over, of they just mollywopped Roman Reigns to end out SummerSlam?
Exactly.
They just stomped a mud hole and walked it dry.
I feel like, and this is kind of goes back to, and I'm gonna click on this comment, MDB right here. Rebuild Roman Reigns is the big dog for a reason. He did lose the title though, so he doesn't have the title behind him. He lost his cousin with Jay. We don't know where Jimmy stands. Where does Roman doesn't have technically any friends. He doesn't have anything. So why would you not do a rebuild storyline? He has no one, literally.
He's got Paul. If he's coming out with Paul, you're not my tribal chief.
Paul can't wrestle.
Yeah, so you got your wife.
Outside of Roman, like what else does he have? You built the Bloodline 2.0 strong enough where you could potentially have that. Because Roman Reigns coming back and taking everybody out of the Bloodline 2.0, what does that do?
Nothing.
It doesn't do
anything.
anything.
It takes everybody out. I think it just probably takes Solo out.
But
I think it's a clear direct shot of he shows up, spears out of Solo, and then even if he just rolls out after that, and that's what sets up Cody to get the win there.
Now I can see that.
The simple version. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it, right? The Roman comes flying out of nowhere, destroys him with a spear. Cody gets the win, and I just still think we end with almost a shot of Roman backing up like this, and he's even pointing out like Cody saying, "You're welcome. Like you won this because I showed up and got involved. You're welcome. I still hate you, but you're welcome." Well, that's it. And they purposely put Cody in the position of, he has no friends. Now, there's been rumors that this main event could be chaos. Like everybody and their uncle could show up. New people could show up. Old people could show up. Everybody could show up. It could be just a big old party. We'll see. We'll see how far they go with it. But Anthony's theory works really well. The only thing, I mean, to get that point, you just have Cody, get it like a distraction win, hits a Cody cutter. You have the excuse for Solo losing, but an angry Solo leads to everything else that happens after, where you assume, well, everyone's going to bow, bend the knee to Roman, and they don't. And it's clear that they don't. Yeah, you can disrespect me. You can be a telephone tough guy. For the young folks, a phone is a thing we anyway. But yeah, you can be a
no. See, you used to do that because there was, the
Right.
part you could hear and the receiver. It wasn't
I
just
felt like
a
I had
flat
to
brick
explain
like this. Now you had to do this. But could you see it to where now that they've taken out Paul, so then they do similar to Roman, and then now when you do get, say, at a potential Royal Rumble, what have you, of when you do get that, ladies and gentlemen, and they've teamed together, they've formed back together, then you could get that pop. If you dismantled Heyman, if you dismantle Roman, I think you've got to wait, and then you pull them back together in form of mega wise man.
Yeah, I don't mind that idea. Like, it doesn't make me like, they really.
What would you have? So
I
you'd have
think,
Heyman come out and announce Roman, and then still have Roman get dismantled?
Yeah, because I think what happens is you have Paul walk out, and that's your pop. That's where everyone loses their mind. The minute they hear Paul, especially because the last time we saw Paul, he was babyface as shit and he got destroyed, right? But Roman comes walking out like he's going to. Yeah, it's easy to run your mouth when I'm not here, but now I'm here. And then he just steps up into that ring and looks at Solo and says, "Acknowledge me." And Solo goes, sorry. And that's the moment. That's that moment where, they draw the line in the sand. Like, that's that spot where Roman thinks, yeah, I know you're running your mouth, but I'm still who I say I am. And you need that moment where Solo is physically defiant.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, there still has to be, regardless of any of Roman Reigns trying to rebuild anything, the one thing he has to rebuild is his relationship with his cousins, at least with Jay. Jimmy could come back, be all cool and dandy with Roman Reigns, but he has to rebuild the relationship with Jay. That's like a must. Because you can't get Jay just to waltz up in there thinking everything is cool and dandy. There was literally a match where Jay pinned Roman Reigns last year. Like,
I fully agree with you with that. That's why I think initially I even thought we would get a Jimmy or what have you before we even were talking about getting a Roman Reigns back,
right?
What have you. I don't know if I would exactly have Roman show up and then just get kind of dog walked. It'd be really interesting if that happened. But yeah, we're definitely have to patch up everything with Jay and all of that. Yeah. That's a given.
I think that actually helps support Anthony's theory, if I'm being 100% honest, is that because there is that mending that needs to happen, and even with Jay, there's some finagling as far as he's on another show. I think that, to me, is part of this. If Roman doesn't show up with a whole crew of friends, because that's just too easy. Wait, y'all forgave each other? Like, Roman shows up, to reclaim the head of the table, and it doesn't go as planned. Now he needs a plan, and that's why you have a wise man, and the wise man, points him in the, you have a bloodline, sir. Don't forget, this is not us. That's a mockery of us. That's a mimic. Let's mend those fences. I think it works. It's crazy. All of it works.
That's the thing. It works. I don't want it to work, but goddamn it works.
Last thing I think we'll touch on with this, because we could literally fantasy book this for the next, again, all night long.
Right.
But The Rock, I don't see being a part of SummerSlam. I'd be shocked if he was, though I do still think he's pulling the strings, and that will be revealed at a later date.
I'm starting to believe you a little bit more on that. Yeah. Keep it honest. Yeah, well, because you do have to, I think, at some point, I think at least at 41, we're getting Rock versus Roman, and it's not for a title. Unless we're going to count that stupid ass People's Championship belt.
I wasn't really into the mindset that Rock was pulling the strings behind the scenes, but after listening to y'all for so many months talk about it, I got behind the train that Rock might be pulling these strings, all together. That could potentially be the thing. Does he show up at SummerSlam? You talk about an overbooked main event, like, you know, the cool main event was at WrestleMania. They play it somewhat back with all of these returns and big moments. You know, it could happen at SummerSlam, but I think we hold off for The Rock for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I think we do.
Yep.
Do we get Cody versus Dwayne
At some point? Yes. Do it. Mama Rhodes in the front row. But any other big surprises, any other things that we're anticipating, anything else you gentlemen want to touch on as it pertains to SummerSlam? 91% is saying Cody, by the way, if anybody was wondering. But any other twist, turn, surprises that might be out there? Or have we just touched on about everything?
We're in Cleveland, and I believe I need a reference or a run-in or something from, I believe, a WWE Hall of Famer, one Mr. Drew Carey needs to at least show up. I need a Cleveland Rocks. Cleveland Rocks. We've got the Miz hosting it. We've got, you know, Logan Paul, Cleveland guys showing up. The hell I am, but Zigglypuff, maybe you get an acknowledgement of him because, you know, NXT a little bit, what have you, but it's interesting. I want a Cleveland, you know, Bone Thugs and Harmony do the national anthem.
I'm in.
I think for my last note is I don't know how they would do it, but I just want Alexa Bliss to come back. I don't know how they do it at SummerSlam, but bring my girl back to the WWE.
Heavily rumored.
I don't know where she fits in anywhere in this card looking at it. But have Alexa Bliss show up at SummerSlam so I could be happy.
Or does she show up at Raw with a six-person tag match where we finally got the Wyatt Six in action taking on Chad Gable and the Creeds?
I'll take that too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still thinking that she will be involved. I don't know if she will be for certain, but there's lots of rumors about her being very close to ready, if not already ready.
Oh, I like that though. Swerve saying a hug like Macho and Miss Elizabeth. Now, would it be between Dom and Rhea or Dom and Liv?
I think we might get the Queen Sherry moment instead of the Elizabeth moment. This might be the heel turn hug. Shout out to Bone Thugs. Shout out Bone Thugs.
Right. Well, could AJ Lee show up? Oh, we've got the bracelet.
I don't think so.
I think I'm done with the AJ Lee train. I think even after CM Punk said at the last press conference that she has a lot on her plate and wrestling is not one of them, unless he was just throwing us, you know, a curveball, I don't see AJ Lee returning anytime soon.
And in this spot, what would she really do? Like, she gonna roll in the ring and beat up Drew McIntyre? Like,
we thought she could sit there and be the one that tosses the ladder that Drew McIntyre was climbing at Money in the Bank and everything, my guy. She could sit there and hit a Tarantula on Drew McIntyre, and we'd all still buy it. We would pop just with, you know, let's light it up, light it up, light it up, and just she sits there at ringside.
Right? People looking forward to Jelly Roll. It's going to be fun. I'm just happy the Weeknd's not doing the theme song.
Well, it's on the weekend, so I mean, did they just accidentally like typo the fucking letter the whole time? And then just like, we just got lucky that a guy named The Weeknd is a music act.
Yeah.
Because we're just talking about the show on the weekend.
Yeah. Oopsie. AJ Lee gonna be backup ref. No, I don't see that happening. That'd be hilarious. So AJ Lee comes running out, puts the ref shirt on, and counts the 3.
That would be so. Oh my god!
I got nods from guys like maybe okay.
Yeah, and then you got Drew that would literally just claymore the after that. Could you imagine he gets screwed over by Seth, by Punk, and by AJ Lee, all wearing ref attire? He's just fighting zebras at a zoo at this point. Like, no, I just gotta throw hands on game.
Afro circus. Let's go. All right, folks. With all that being said, don't forget you can always comment on any of the videos after the fact. Let us know what you think for SummerSlam, and do not forget we are live all week long. We are back tomorrow, 5 p.m. for the kickoff. Then we're back for SmackDown, Rampage, And then 5 p.m. Saturday, live we go with SummerSlam. And I think there'll be a little bit of collision, but we will keep an eye out. Lots coming your way. We're working on more stuff behind the scenes, more members only coming, more interviews, more content, more. Go check out all our social medias. Are you gentlemen excited for the weekend?
Yeah. I'm super stoked for SummerSlam. I think it's going to be probably one of the best ones in a long time.
Cause I'm ready to go. Oh. Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is all authentic. When you talk about the rest, I was waiting for the signal. When you talk about the rest, you're gonna put that full live with it.
Come back tomorrow. We got so much coming your way, folks. See you on the flip side. Good night. Paul.